Now for the show that's truly too hot to handle. It's The Melting Pat, and it starts right now.
You're listening to The Melting Pat. Here's your host, Pat Johnson.
Well, thank you, Jerome. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the show, The Melting Pat, the Next Level Network. How are you? I think I am recovered from WrestleMania. Full disclosure, it's Friday morning, 11:14, so we gotta hustle here. We actually cut a part out of the show because of that, but that's fine. I'll put it somewhere else. And also, I did try to do this on Wednesday. I really did, but my voice was still shot because it was, 2 days of screaming your lungs out. Is that a thing? 2 days of screaming at wrestling with 72,000 people is apparently a lot on the vocal cords. So there we go. Hope you're well. Hope everything is going great on your end today. We will have some baseball things for you. A couple of news and notes. We have an update on Shohei Ohtani's interpreter and the gambling scandal, which the thing may be coming to an end already. Which seems insane. But anyway, we'll talk about that. We got a Flyers update from the captain. It's already edited and done and ready to go. Spoiler, not good. Although, update, they did win against Montreal the other day. So, fingers crossed, they might still have a shot here. We'll also talk about converting malls to housing, because that is a discussion I've seen pop up again. And so we'll get into that as best we can. And of course, we will recap WrestleMania weekend and how much goddamn fun we had. So there you go with all of that. What happened with my phone? Oh, there it is. Okay. Again, got the notes on my phone, and I want to make sure I get all the stuff right for the song. And I hit something accidentally, and everything froze. So we're good now. We're okay. We are okay, I think. Yes. All right. So, full disclosure. When I did this earlier today, I screwed up saying and spelling her name. So we're going to cut a bunch of stuff and shoehorn this in. So our friend, I'm so sorry, Courstellation, Courstellation, like constellation, but with Cour. I said Courstellation like 4 times, and I tried to just squeeze it in and make a little, I don't know what I tried to do, but it was sounding gross. So we're going to try again. I don't know what's going to happen with this. It's going to sound ridiculous. But anyway, Courstellation, her 2 songs, Pretty Little Sunset and Love's a Waltz. So there we go. We have it. I think we finally got it. We'll figure out how to make this work. I'm not even sure. Courstellation, 2 songs from her right now. It's the Melting Pat. We're coming right back.
A pretty little sunset as we're on our way to record the day across the bay. Pretty little sunset, won't you stay for me? They're taking pictures now, so please don't go to sleep. Harvesting your light, stealing away from the night, a keepsake to remember, since you'll leave us in September. Pretty summer sunset, oh how far you fell. I never got to use your light, that golden hour spell. Pretty little sunset, what a mistake I made, not striking out on my own to let you fade away. Take me for a dance sometime, take me for a spin. You'll never know whose heart you may
there you have it, our new friend, Courstellation, Courste. I'm not spelling it again. Courstellation. Link in the show notes. There we go. 2 songs from her, Pretty Little Sunset and Love's a Waltz. The Melting Pat, the Next Level Network. I love a good waltz. That sounded awful. I'm sorry. Well, there's no like guitar solo, so I had to go with the waltzing piano, and I don't know that my voice can handle that. So I did my best. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. That was... Oh, man, she's going to ask me to take this down and say, I don't want to talk to you ever again. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. That would be fair. Tell her you found her from me. And actually, you know what? Don't tell her that. Don't do that. Just say, hey, I heard you. I found your music the other day, and I love it. And don't even mention me at all. Sound good? All right. Thank you very much for sending me the songs and letting me feature your stuff on the show. Much appreciated, my new friend. And I'm sorry I ruined the waltz. I'm really sorry about that. All right, we're actually just going to roll through with the whole thing today. We're not going to break up the track because I won't have time to do that on the back end. So, oh boy, going old school, I guess. I almost did this live on Twitch, by the way, just because I wanted to, when I do that, it gives me more accountability to not screw up. I think that's it. I used to do the show on YouTube, and then they changed how they did it, only audio, and then they changed how to do that, and so I decided, well, let's try Twitch, and I did that a couple times. And got 0 engagement, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, we went to WrestleMania this weekend. Last weekend, I should say. First of all, thank you to Matt Shaw for joining me once again. Thank you to everyone who gave their feedback on the WrestleMania preview episode. That was fantastic. Yes, it went up on Friday on purpose because I said to Ben, hey, I'm going to be going down there. He was down there also. We got to run into him on Saturday. That was wonderful. I said, hey, Ben, can I put the show up on Friday because we're going on Saturday? He's like, yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm pretty sure I could have asked Ben anything related to the show, and he would have said yes. Except play licensed music, because we don't want to do that. Because we don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to freshly use copyrighted material without consent and get a nasty review from that loser. Sorry. I think about it every so often, and I still laugh, because it's hilarious. I love it. All right. We had a great time. It was fantastic. I got to run into, got to go see Shaw, and good friend of the show, Brian. He's a good friend to me, also, not just to the show. We lived together for 2 years, so I didn't know he was going to be there or when, but it was great to see them. And of course, my buddy JB, who you hear actually at the beginning of the show, the intro, the guy who does the intro, that's him. So our friend JB, we got to see them. His kids are now huge. We haven't seen his kids in like 6 years, and they're both taller than me almost. So that was great. Wonderful to see everyone. If I missed you at WrestleMania, I'm sorry. We were exhausted and we were doing stuff, and my bad. But it was amazing. We also we shelled out for the fancy ticket package, and that included a pregame tailgate at Citizens Bank Park. So the show was at Lincoln Financial Field across the parking lot, and there was a pregame tailgate at Citizens Bank Park, which we didn't really get to do much on Saturday. We got down there kind of later than we thought, which was fine. Oh, also, thank you to Danielle and to Maggie for watching the boy over the weekend. Without you, we couldn't have gone. So thank you very much. Shout out to Jill's dad for meeting us on Sunday and getting us over there. Got to hang out at their house for a little while, which really we kind of needed. We needed to rest and get some medicine in us too. Because man, it's loud. I don't know if you know this. Wrestling shows are loud when you were surrounded by 72,000 people screaming and fireworks and all the action. It's just loud. And shout out to Loop earplugs as well, because that really saved my weekend. So, all right. Pre-game tailgate at Citizens Bank Park was really cool. We didn't get to really do much on Saturday. We got down there a little later. But Sunday, we realized, hey, we walked around and we're like, oh man, a bunch of food places are open and all the food is included, which they didn't really let us know that. They just said, hey, pregame tailgate from 2:30 to 4:30 at Citizens Bank Park, and no other real details were given about what was going to go on or what was going to be available or open. And so we got there Saturday, got some pizza, and then wandered around Sunday, and we're like, oh my God, we could have gotten cheesesteaks or whatever, or, real food, and it would have been great. Why didn't we know about this? That would have saved us some money. But anyway, it was nice. It was cool, man. We got to run into some people there as well. So really fun. I would say if you are going to a big event and you have the money, to go for the premium package, because there's a lot you can do. And like, I guess if I can give you advice, if you go to one of these things where it's like, hey, we're doing this, I guess if you go to a WrestleMania somewhere else and there's like a sports complex and you go, hey, we're doing a pregame tailgate at this stadium over here, just know that a lot of the food places at the stadium will probably be open to give you food that's covered under your thing. So you don't have to pay for it unless you get in booze. So that was really great. I wish we would have known about that earlier. But anyway, yeah, the information wasn't super clear. But man, this was one of the best things I've ever been to. And I am grateful forever to my wife's uterus, my wife's womb, because this was the last of the surrogacy money went to these tickets. And we had a wonderful time. We had an absolutely wonderful time. And it's a young man's game, I will say. Young men, young people. People without kids, without toddlers at home, who who have a little more energy because Sunday we were just gassed, but we had a wonderful time. We were in section 119, so we were like, I don't know, 30, 40 rows up from the ring, and kind of close to the stage, close enough where I shared a picture of the view of the stage from our seats, and somebody was like, "Is that zoomed in?" And I said, "No, that's where we're sitting." And I'll actually use one of the pictures that we took as the show image this week, I think. We'll try to figure that out. But yeah, it was amazing. And like being so close to the action was great. Like we've been on the floor seats for TV, but those tickets were like $40,000 or whatever, but for WrestleMania. But like being that close to the action was amazing. And just like it's been on my bucket list since I was 10 years old to go to WrestleMania, and to be able to not only go, but to be close enough where I didn't need like binoculars, or I didn't have to look at the screen most of the time, or, whatever. Like I could just sit there or stand or whatever. When people stand up in front of us, we got to stand up so we could see. That's what happens. It's like church, up and down, up and down. To be there and to be able to be that close to the action is something I will forever be grateful for, and I'll never forget. It was amazing, and the people around us were really cool for the most part. The people next to us were cool. A guy and his kid who was like, I don't know, 7 or 8. He had a great time. The 4 guys behind us all came together, and they had a great time. And I have to tell you this. So there's a lot of chanting that goes on at wrestling shows. And there was one match. So Logan Paul had a match, and his company, Prime Energy, is like a big WWE sponsor now. And so what people in the crowd did, we were chanting different beverages that weren't Prime Energy. There was a big Gatorade chant. There was a water chant, H2O, things like that. And I've been randomly thinking about this for days and just laughing to myself, because after the Gatorade chant, it got a little quiet, and the guys behind us just started going, milk, 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 milk. And I've been thinking about that for days and just laughing to myself. And just going milk, 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 milk. And I go to the boy, and I'm like, "Hey man, milk, milk, milk." And he goes, "No," and starts chanting something else. And I start. So I put my hand up in the air, in rhythm, and go milk, milk, milk. And he goes, "No," and starts chanting something else, like whatever. And I'm like, "Yes, I have taught my son how to chant like he's at a wrestling show. I think I've done my job as a dad." He's like, "No," rah, and he starts chanting something else, and I've done it. I have reached peak dadhood where my son is now chanting like he's a psycho at a wrestling show. I think I won. Way to go. Way to go, Pat. Good job, buddy. Proud of you. We'll give the studio audience the day off. I'll do the clapping myself. It's fine. Yeah, we had it was amazing. And even if we're not a huge fan of, like I said on the show, I'm not like Cody Rhodes is not my favorite. I like him just fine, but he's always kind of like, all right, he's good. I'm not changing the channel when he's on, right? But being in the crowd for his entrance, for his matches, for his win at the end of the weekend, and just seeing people singing along to his theme song. We did learn the words, by the way, and singing along to his theme song, and just looking around at everyone who is ecstatic for this guy. And I'm like, man, I'm not on that level that they are, but this is really cool. And being wrapped up in that moment was really fun. And it was so good. It was so much fun, and being around so many people who were so into everything and just being able to get wrapped up in their emotion, their excitement, even if we weren't on the same level as they were, being able to be in that moment was absolutely fantastic. And I am forever grateful that we were able to do this. And I just, man, like we went to WrestleMania. We were there. We went to WrestleMania and had amazing seats and got to witness all kinds of wonderful things. And I just, man, it was so much fun. The, guys bring out grand entrances, like Seth Rollins came out with the Mummers. Let's see, Roman Reigns had an orchestra play him down to the ring. And actually, my buddy from work, his daughter was in the orchestra that played Roman Reigns down to the ring. And it was incredible. Like, that was like, what a fun little thing to learn. And then hearing her, I really wanted to get her on the show too, because they don't care. They don't care about wrestling at all. And so she would see somebody backstage and people would get excited. Like, yeah, that guy. And she didn't know who it was. So she would take a picture and then send it to her dad and say, people are excited about this guy. Who's this guy? And then he would send that picture to me and say, she just took this picture. People are excited about this guy. Who is this guy? And I'm like, oh, that's Cody Rhodes. Or like, oh, that's The Rock. Or that's whoever. And that was a really fun little moment for me, just to be like, oh, you don't care about wrestling, but your kid is getting wrapped up in it. And so then you are in turn getting wrapped up in her excitement. And then I get to be excited to tell you who these people are. And that was really fun. Everything about that weekend was amazing. We did have some people who were trying to steal seats. It was really weird. So like we had, our section was, if we were at an Eagles game in those seats, we would have been at field level. And then they build up in front, like they built up more seats, a little structure to have more seats in front that are technically floor level seats, right? So they're on the field and we would have been like at field level. And so it was weird on Saturday, people in front of us, there are 2 seats in front of us, the first section right there. And all night on Saturday, like 7 or 8 different people sat in those seats. And like people would come back and say, hey, you don't sit there. Let me see your ticket. That's not your seat. And I'm like, people are going to fight really right now because somebody got up to go to the bathroom or go get food. And it takes a while. And someone, makes their way down, like sneaks by the security people and just tries to sit in a closer seat. And it's like, what are you doing? It's a sold out show. It's not the mid 90s and the Phillies are bad. So get back to your seat. Like, what are you doing? And then people would like come up and stand in the aisle to take a picture, which is fine. Like, go get a picture from a close spot and then go back to your seat. But they would stand there and start and like keep watching the show, standing in the aisle, so people behind them could not see. And so people behind us to our left almost like fought this guy because his kids couldn't see because this jerk was standing in the aisle in the way. And so that sucked. And Jill said when I was at the bathroom, somebody tried to sit in my seat. And she's like, it's a sold out show. No, yes, someone is sitting here. It's a sold out show. And the guy didn't move for a couple minutes. And I was like, oh, God, really? So that sucked. But everything else was great. Jason Kelce made an appearance. And of course, he took off his shirt on a cold and windy evening. That was just so much fun. And it was amazing. R-Truth was great. R-Truth is the best. He continues to be a highlight of whatever show he's on. And Cody Rhodes finished the story. People loved it. There were run-ins, like Matt and I said on the preview show. We wanted chaos. We wanted run-ins. We wanted all the people to come back. And John Cena made a run-in. The Undertaker made a run-in. That was fantastic. The atmosphere was absolutely electric for 2 days. And again, I will forever be grateful that, the fortunes aligned, the planets aligned or whatever, that we were able to have that experience together and just to be in that moment, be in that crowd for 2 days around some pretty cool people and just having so much fun. And it's something I will never forget for the rest of my life. Like, I got to go again, I have had this dream for 25 years. And I finally got to be there, and being there with my smoking hot wife and just being in that moment, being in that crowd was one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. And I will never forget it. I don't know that I'll ever get over the fact that I got to go to WrestleMania. And it was just so, man, that was so goddamn cool. That was so much fun. Everybody that we were around was awesome, except for the people trying to steal seats. That sucked. But 99% of the weekend was amazing. And once again, shout out to Loop Earplugs, because that saved me for the weekend. If you don't know, that place got loud. And whether it came off on TV, we don't know. We haven't watched yet. But I can tell you, as someone who was there, that place was loud for 2 straight days. And it was absolutely wonderful. And I'm just so happy that we got to do that. And man, I feel like I should just stop the show. Because, like, how do I pivot? How do I pivot from this to converting malls to housing? I don't know. Should we get a theme? Let's, I don't know, man. Should we? I had a clip from the Roman Reigns entrance, the orchestra playing. It's like 8 seconds. Should we do that? You know what? Let's do that. We're going to play like 8 to 10 seconds of the orchestra playing Roman Reigns to the ring. We'll try our best to get that in. And that's a retransition. So WrestleMania 40 was absolutely amazing. I loved it. And, man, I can't believe I actually did it. So that's how we'll do it. We'll play a little clip of the wonderful orchestral performance that played Roman Reigns to the ring, and then we'll get to the stuff that has nothing to do with any of this. So let's do that, and we will be right back. So there you go. The tough part about that is trying to do some vocal removal for the announcing to play the rest of the theme. I don't know if I did that. I think I just got the first part and just did that, little 8 seconds. I did record it. I did record a little video because my friend asked me to see if I could get a shot of his kid on the stage, and I don't think I did. But if I play the version that I did, it'll be a little bit longer. If I didn't, then it'll be the shorter one from TV. I don't know yet. We'll figure that out in a few minutes. But what an amazing weekend. And there's no transition other than that to talk about this. So I saw this on Threads. And, well, first of all, let me just say this. Speaking of complaining and people thinking they know better, let's just here's how we transition. Wrestling fans are annoying online. You know this. If you've been online and you have wrestling stuff in your feed, you know that wrestling fans, WWE, AEW, whoever, they're annoying as hell, right? And they're always like, oh, they should do this, and they did do this, and this guy, blah, 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 blah. And people get annoyed, right? People are annoying. So speaking of being annoying, there we go. I think that's how is that okay? We'll find out in a second. I have seen this go around for a while. Because if you don't know, I talked about this on the show, I think, and in the newsletter for sure, that shopping malls are, they're going away. If they haven't closed entirely, a lot of them are kind of empty. The indoor malls are not great. They're ghost towns. And every so often this comes up where, hey, why can't we just, like when a lot of jobs went work from home, right? They went to teleworking, like mine did. And so a lot of office space is being unused. It's sitting there empty. And so people are, of course, like, hey, why can't we convert this to housing or mixed use with housing and retail and things of that nature? If you remember a few months ago, when I talked about that apartment complex in China, where everything is in one building, like the first 2 or 3 floors are shopping and doctor's offices and drugstores and other things like that, like things you would have in a community. It's all on the first couple floors of this building. And then the next, 10 or 20 floors are apartments. So people who live there can just wander down, take the elevator down, and go do their grocery shopping and go to the doctor and go to whatever, right? And go to the gym and go for a swim or whatever they do. And so I thought that's really cool, like a whole community in one building. People have their issues with it. I think overall that's a great idea. And so I wonder, like, can we do that with malls? Like, can we convert an indoor mall that is no longer being used for retail? Or like, there are only a handful of stores left that are open because a lot of people just aren't going. For whatever reason, you can list them and speculate on whatever. They're just not going. And so I thought, hey, why can't we make that into housing? And of course, this discussion happens. And then I saw this the other day where somebody brought up the point like, hey, it would probably take a lot of time and money to be able to zone a mall for housing, right? There are different codes and laws and ordinances and things like that I will admit I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about construction. I don't know anything about zoning laws or whatever. And so I don't know how a mall can be rezoned as a living space. Because like you have to have bathrooms and showers and, you know, they all have to be kind of separate but equal. And then you have to, you know, get all the things rebuilt and taken down and whatnot. And so I just wonder how hard is that? Like, how difficult is that transition? Would it be more fiscally responsible? Will it make more fiscal sense to tear down the building and start over? Right? So you have the mall, the building, 2 floors, 3 floors, whatever, and you want to convert that to housing. Would it make more sense to rezone, whatever the building, reconfigure the building to make it into apartments on part of the thing and retail and office space and whatever on the rest, right? Like that community in China, that apartment complex. Could you do the same thing to a mall in America? Or would it be better and cheaper and easier and, I don't know, faster? Would it make more sense to tear down the building and build a new structure that is all of those things in one place? So I'm just wondering, because you have the space and it's not being used anymore, like to the level that it was, it's no longer being used as a mall at the same level. And so a lot of these places are, I don't want to say losing money, but they're definitely not making as much as they were. And so at what point does the mall owner say, hey, we need to be able to pivot our thing from indoor shopping because nobody's coming. Let's make this into something else. And you can collect rent from tenants, from people who live there at part of it, and the new office tenants and the new food places, grocery stores, doctor's offices, whatever. What if we get the rent from them for the spaces and continue to make money on this investment? Because that's really what the goal is, right? The mall owner wants to make money on their real estate investment. And whatever you want to think about that, I'm just telling you how it's likely to be, right? That's probably what their plan is. Like, hey, we got to find a way to make money here. We would rather not close the building. And so would it make more sense for the owner to say, hey, get everybody out. We're going to tear down the building and rebuild it as a community? Or bring the guys in, shut it down for however many months, and rebuild it, reconfigure it as a community space, right? How hard would that be? I honestly don't know. Like, what is I don't know. I'm not even thinking about how much money it would cost. Although, I mean, that's important, right? I'm just wondering about the practicality of whether you should convert the mall to a living space, like convert the existing building, get it all up to code, up to code for a living space, or would it make more sense to tear down the building and rebuild on that spot like a full-fledged community where you have stores and shopping and all these things on one level, and the rest of the levels, the rest of the space is living, right? I almost said dormitories, but apartments. Is that even possible? Because one of the malls near us, they closed the one anchor store at the end of the mall. I talked about this. They closed that apartment store and they tore part of it down, or like that side, they tore it down, and they're building apartments that are going to, I believe, either connect to the mall or like be right there and have like a walkway, a little courtyard in between right at the mall. And so I'm just wondering, can the whole building be done like that, where you can convert it all to living space, or do you have to tear down and rebuild? What is the best course of action on that front? Does anybody know? Because I'm just wondering. I don't know, man. I really just think that it could work, right? And maybe not. It's not as simple as just convert everything to living spaces. It's for sure not that easy. Because again, I don't know anything about construction. I will freely admit that. I just don't. It's something I don't know. But you already have a lot of the elements to build a community right there. Like a lot of buses. It would be sick as hell for people who don't drive, people who are disabled or elderly or both, or for whatever reason just don't want to drive, and that's fine. But you already have a lot of modern conveniences, right? Buses already go there because it's a mall. It's a big stop, right? You can get your walks. People who like to walk the mall can still do that. Just walk around on the inside where the shops are, right? Plenty of parking for tenants who live there and shoppers who want to go to that grocery store, or people have to go to that doctor's office, assuming you leave that part open to the public, right? And I guess that's another logistical issue you have to contend with, is how do you do that? How do you zone that part, right? How do you cordon off one side where people live and the other side where anybody can go shop or bowl or see a show or whatever you want to put there? So how do you do that? So you have the parking, you have, the transit already goes there. You have the space. It's already there for you. And so I'm just wondering how, could this work? Could this work in America? Could you either shut down a mall and convert it to living space, or tear down the building and in that spot build a mixed-use facility where you have the shopping on one side and living quarters on the other? Could this work in America? And if it could, would you want to live there? Is this a spot where you would go, hey, you know what? I'll live there, at the mall, essentially, and have the community all right in one spot. Would you do that? Is this a concept? Or even, maybe not even that. Do you like this as a concept, right? Do you like the idea of having a whole community in one place? Is this a good idea or not? Let me know. And somebody who knows about construction, ride with me on this. Is this possible? Or is it better to tear down the building and start over? Let me know. Let me know if this is even possible to do from a practical construction standpoint. Is this even a feasible thing that could happen? Because you don't want to see a building just sit there empty when it could be used for something that could benefit a very high number of people. That's me. Maybe that's the socialist in me. I don't know. But I think this would be this could be really fun. I think this could be a really great idea to reinvigorate the space, reinvigorate the community around the space, because you still have the shopping and you give people places to live. And it's all right there for you. And so you still have, for the surrounding community, if they don't want to live there in those spaces, you still have shopping options, eating options, entertainment options, whatever you choose to put there, whatever you can put in that space. You still have that. And on the other side, you have people who can live there and also take advantage of that too. So let me know. Does that work? Is this a thing that could happen? Or am I just, is this just like a pipe dream where it's not possible because America and corporate greed? So let me know, somebody who knows about construction, and I guess, building zoning laws and things of that nature. Is this even a possible, is this even, who am I, Trump here? Is this even a feasible concept that would work? And if it is, do you like the idea? Let me know, all right? Oh, man, we are really going all over the place today. As far as topics go, we did the music, which was great. We did WrestleMania, and now we're doing sports. So if you don't like sports, it's time to go. We cut out the thing about social media because I don't think I'll have time to do all the work on the back end. But we're going to talk baseball. We have 2 things on baseball, actually 3, and then the captain, and then, you know what? So I have 2 things for baseball. We're talking about the Oakland A's. They're moving to Sacramento. I'm leaving Sacramento. Sacramento, there I go. I'll be sure to come back when the Lakers beat the Kings in May. There you go. That is a reference for 2 of you, and you're welcome. You're welcome. So we'll talk about that, and then I was going to talk about pitcher injuries in baseball because everybody's blaming the pitch clock and all this. I have a lot to say about that. But instead, what I'm going to do is we'll push that to next week because I'm sure it'll still be a topic of discussion. So we're going to push that, and instead we're going to tell you about the update in the gambling scandal with Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara. I think I said his name right. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute, but I want to talk about the Oakland A's. If you don't know, the Oakland A's, the move has been approved from Oakland to Las Vegas because their owner, John Fisher, just does not care anymore and just wants to move to Vegas, which look, man, I've said this, I'll say it again. What I really want to happen for the Oakland A's is for John Fisher to sell the team to someone who wants to keep it in Oakland and then have him buy an expansion team in Las Vegas. So everybody wins. John Fisher gets his team in Las Vegas, and the Oakland A's get to stay in Oakland and have an owner who actually cares about improving the team and the facilities and who wants to keep baseball in Oakland, because it's not fair to the fans. And I don't know, man. So the news came out the other day that the Oakland A's are moving to Sacramento to play at a AAA stadium in between until they move to Vegas. So it's going to be like 3 years that the A's will play in Sacramento share the stadium with a AAA team. And we're like, wow, like the seating capacity is like 14,000 or whatever. And I just, look, not only is it bad that MLB teams now have to go play there, right? So you go from, like, say the Phillies go over there. So you go from a full house of 42, 45,000, whatever it is, and then you go play the A's in Sacramento, and it's 14,000 maybe, if you're lucky. And, like, it's just such a weird change to go do that. And, like, major league teams should not have to deal with this, right? The NHL, the Coyotes are dealing with this in the NHL because the owners didn't pay their taxes on the building or whatever. And so they're playing in a 10,000 seat arena and have for like 3 years, which is nuts. So it's just like, is everybody involved in this just a cheap piece of crap? Because, like, why can't they stay in Oakland until they go to Vegas, right? They're not going to Vegas till like 2028. And so in the meantime, why can't they just stay in Oakland, right? Re-up the lease for 2-3 years, whatever it is, and then go to Vegas when it's ready. Because that's happening. It's inevitable. That's happening. It's been approved. I hate it, but whatever. That's happening. And it's embarrassing, honestly, because, like, what is this show? What does this do? You're saying not only do you not care about keeping the team in Oakland, you're going to move into Vegas. Okay, fine. But you care so little about the fans in Oakland that you're not even willing to put up the money to lease the stadium for another 3 seasons while they stay, or while the place in Vegas is being built and getting ready for you. You care so little about the team that you own, or maybe it's the league or whoever, but everybody involved cares so little about this franchise and their fans that they're willing to let them play in a minor league. Like, this is a professional team. They're willing to let them play in a minor league stadium for years because they don't want to put up the money to lease the stadium and have it, operational for 3 more seasons before the team moves to Las Vegas. It's complete, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And I just, oh man. Like, why can't we just, billionaires being super greedy will never, I don't know why it shocks me. I don't know why I'm so, like, flabbergasted by this, because this is how billionaires work, right? The reason they have so much money is because they don't spend it or whatever, right? We're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I feel so bad for Oakland fans. This is so terrible for baseball, and I wish there was anything anybody could do. What I want is for John Fisher to sell the A's to someone who cares and wants to keep the team in Oakland. And then he could go buy an expansion team in Las Vegas. They could put a team in Nashville, like is apparently the plan, or Charlotte, whichever one. And then we add 2 more teams and go that way. But to rip a team from Oakland because the owner doesn't care anymore is not fair to the franchise, not fair to the players, not fair to the fans, and it's a bad look for the sport. And yeah, corporate greed, man. It is gross, and I absolutely hate it. So this is so bad. I hate it. It's so, I hate this, man. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, but it's where we are. It's just where we are. Oh man. Speaking of being greedy, let's talk about this. We have an update on the betting scandal. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Sorry. I had to check a thing. Turns out the system is down for the moment, so we got time to finish the show. So I want to tell you about this. We had an update on Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara. We talked about this. He is, at first it was Ohtani helped him pay off his debts. And then immediately he came back and said, no, that's not what happened. I stole money from him And yeah, it's a whole thing. There's an illegal bookmaker and who's connected, who's also under investigation. Well, Mizuhara has been charged with felony bank fraud. And so the original claim was that $4.5 million was stolen from Shohei Ohtani's account. And it was like, wow, okay, that's crazy. It turns out that Ippei Mizuhara stole $16 million from Shohei Ohtani. And look, I can't even fathom what $4.5 million looks like. I can't even put together how much that, like, if you put that in a room, I'd be like, I don't know how much that is. That's more money than I could ever even think to be in one place, let alone to be available at any point in time in my life. And so now you have quadrupled that amount of money that you stole from somebody. It's just like, how's that happen? How did that happen? Well, what happened was he set up, like, Shohei Ohtani, this is in the affidavit that was released, court documents that were released the other day. Shohei Ohtani has an account where his baseball salary goes from the Angels, from now the Dodgers. And I guess a separate account where his endorsement money goes. And then he had his friend, or I guess who we thought was his friend, set up an account, and Mizuhara created a different account that the money goes to. I guess he's siphoning money from Shohei Ohtani, and I guess he had access to the records, and it turns out, like, called the bank as Shohei Ohtani and said, yep, that's me, I'm Shohei Ohtani, and answered some questions and got into the account and got the money and turned off the notifications that said, hey, this money came out of your account. So Shohei Ohtani, according to all the documents, had no idea that this money was being taken because it was being routed to a different account, and Mizuhara went in and said, yep, that's me, I'm Shohei Ohtani. This was a few weeks ago when I talked about the guy pretending to be his dead dad, right? Same idea is that someone pretended to be Shohei Ohtani, somebody who he thought was a friend pretended to be Shohei Ohtani and stole a bunch of money from him because it turns out this guy from 2021 to January 2024, September, October 21 to January of this year, he placed 119,000 bets and he lost more than $400 million. The bookmaker keeps, increasing his lines of credit and letting him make bets because he's been stealing money from a millionaire and paying it off. And so, like, oh, you're good for the money. And the bookmaker probably doesn't know that he's taking the money from Shohei Ohtani. Might not know. Maybe he did. I don't know. I didn't get that far. Maybe I missed that part in my readings. But how do you lose that much? How do you, like, I guess, okay, I have two questions. How are you so bad at gambling that you lose that much money? And how do you not say, hey, I guess, gambling addiction's a serious thing, but how do you not say, hey, you know what? I should probably cool it with these wagers because I'm really bad at this. It's not even like, oh, I'll win it back. It's like, how many losses do you have to take before you say, I should probably find someone to help me out of this? Like, not just pay off the money, but like I should find someone who can help me get out of this mindset that I have to keep gambling. And I know I'm not going to get into the whole gambling addiction serious problem. I get it. I understand. It's a real issue. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist or whatever. I don't pretend to know what's going on. But like from where I sit, where I don't have this, I'm not predisposed to be addicted to much of anything except, I don't know, buying video games on sale. But but I'm just, man, that's a lot of money to lose. A lot of bets to place when you apparently don't win a lot and you don't win enough. But it's just like, and there are text messages that these investigators went over, and he said in a message, Mizuhara said in a message, technically I did steal from him. It's all over for me. That was on March 20th. And so he knew he was in trouble, and he knew that he was going to go down. And so you have also, on top of this, is you have the conspiracy theorists who say, well, Shohei Ohtani probably did the betting, which I made the point when this first came out. Like, hey, I wonder if it was Shohei Ohtani who made a couple of bets that went south and then asked his interpreter to take the fall. And like, yeah, sure, I paid. But then again, why would you then not run with the story of like, hey, he got into some debt, I helped him pay it off. you could have quashed it right there. But then you get a federal investigation because the guy running the site is running it illegally, and then that's how you find out more illegal information. And you find that this guy stole $16 million. $16 million stolen. And I can't even fathom that much money. I can't, that's so... I don't know, man. I don't know. So I guess the question of how did Mizuhara have access to these bank accounts? That was answered with these filings because Mizuhara became essentially Shohei Ohtani's manager and assistant, and so he would have access to all that information, right? Like if you're rich and famous enough where your focus is you go make movies or you go play baseball or you go do whatever, and that's your focus. And from everything that we know about Shohei Ohtani, his singular focus is to play baseball and to be better at baseball. That's all he wants to do. And so it makes sense. Matt Shaw and I were talking about this, actually. It does make sense that Shohei Ohtani would say, hey, set up this account, handle my money. You're not a CPA, I guess, but, you're my friend. I trust you. You're my assistant. Handle this. You're like my manager in a way. Handle the money for me. I'm going to go play baseball. I'm going to go be really good at baseball, and I'm going to go do things nobody's done on a baseball field in 100 years. And I'm going to be awesome. I'm going to be the best. And he has been. And so I can believe if you say, if this comes out, once this is officially all over, and you say, hey, Shohei Ohtani had this guy set up his accounts for him because he wanted to focus on baseball, and then said, yeah, take care of it, whatever. I'll give you some money to help you get out of debt, and just didn't pay attention to it because he had this guy set it up for him because all Shohei Ohtani wanted to do was focus on baseball. I can believe that. I can, based on all of the information that we now have, based on the court documents and the stories coming out, the federal prosecutors, all their information, I can believe that Shohei Ohtani, and they reviewed text messages over the last 4 years between these two guys, and there was no mention of any gambling. And so I can believe that Shohei Ohtani said to Ippei Mizuhara, hey, set up the bank accounts, handle all that information, just make sure my baseball salary goes here so I have enough money to pay for my housing, for my food, for things for my wife, things for my dog, things for whatever, right? Let me just make sure that my needs are met from this account where my baseball money goes and my endorsements go over here. Make sure that I can live the lifestyle that I have become used to since I've become a multi-million dollar baseball player. And the guy was like, all right, cool. And then he set up another account where he could siphon money, I guess, from Shohei Ohtani without his knowledge, and pay off his gambling debts. And then that's why we're here. And so when they said, oh, Shohei Ohtani had no idea, based on the information that we now have, that Mizuhara set up these accounts, and based on what we know about Shohei Ohtani, it's not a ton, but based on what we know about the kind of guy, the kind of, focus on baseball, and that's pretty much it, kind of guy he is, these things now, these puzzle pieces are now fitting together. These things make sense. However, this story just gets so much wackier every time I get an update, right? It's just so, man, how do you lose that much money? How do you lose that much money? How do you get so deep that you lose hundreds of millions of dollars that no one notices for 3.5 years, however long? Look, this guy committed bank fraud, right? You're sure Shohei Ohtani said, manage my money in a way, but he didn't say, set up an account for yourself and siphon money to pay off your apparently very large, very bad gambling losses. He for sure didn't say that. So Mizuhara has been charged again with felony bank fraud. The maximum penalty is 30 years in prison. And so, if they go through all the thing and they find, hey, this guy did these crimes as he's purported to have done, then yes, handle that. And on the other side of it, I hope he gets help. Because if you're this deep into your gambling issues that you have lost $400 million, you need help from someone who's not just a guy on a podcast. You have to go through, I don't know what the gambling counseling looks like, but whatever that is, I hope he somehow finds a way to get into it and come back out of this free of this problem that he has. Again, I'm not going to say I know what's going on because I only know what I've read from mostly really good reporting from The Athletic on the story and what's been released from the federal prosecutors and all that. So I'm not going to pretend to know that, he did this and they did this. And I'm not putting on my tinfoil hat as much as I love wearing the tinfoil hat. I love conspiracies, but I don't think it's as deep as Shohei Ohtani bet on baseball like we all originally thought. I think this is just, hey, my friend, he set up my bank accounts. I said, sure, set all that up, handle that. I'm going to go play baseball. And Mizuhara got greedy and got in too deep. And that's what happened. And so the ignorance that Shohei Ohtani has claimed in statements, and both to baseball, to fans, and to prosecutors, the ignorance of this whole thing, I can buy that because I can believe pretty easily that Shohei Ohtani, a guy who focuses on baseball and not much else, can say, hey, sure, I'm going to go play baseball, make sure my money comes in here for my needs to be met as far as, housing and food and travel and whatever, and then I'm going to go play baseball. And so I can believe that he left it there and had his friend set up the accounts, and then his friend got greedy, and that's why we're here now. So I can buy that. That works for me. It might not work for all of you who hate the Dodgers or whatever, but based on the information that has been provided in all these wonderful reports and all this stuff, I can buy that this is what happened. And the wackiest thing to me is that he pretended to be Shohei Ohtani and got away with it. Like the guy who pretended to be his dead dad to get his Social Security and his pension that I mentioned a few weeks ago. That's the craziest thing is that, hey, I got to keep this gravy train rolling. I'm just going to call the bank and I'm going to, if he set it up, he knows the security questions and answers, and he knows the PIN and he knows all that because he set it up. Because Shohei Ohtani likely said, hey, set this up for me and you handle that, make sure my needs are met, and that's that. And this guy pretended to be Shohei Ohtani on several occasions to pay, it's weirder than the guy just wanting the pension and the Social Security. Because, you're not even keeping the money. You're getting the money, gambling, losing several 100,000 times, and then just getting more money to pay that off because you suck at gambling. And, man, if this guy, I'm going to say this is purely speculation, but I'm going to say it anyway as absolute fact because that's what I do. Not always, but anyway. If this guy was just into buying cars or playing video games or whatever, he could have siphoned money from Shohei Ohtani for years to come, and we would never know because Shohei probably wouldn't notice because he's like, my needs are being met, I'm fine, everything else, whatever. If this guy wasn't into gambling, we would have found out probably 10 years from now that this guy was stealing money, and then it's not as big of a story. But because it's gambling and so much money was tied up in these losses and the bookmaker was actually running an illegal operation, that's why we're all connected and we're all in here now. And I don't know, man. Look, I hope he gets help, and I hope that we get this all straightened out. The conspiracy theorists will be out in full force for a while on this one, thinking that Shohei Ohtani is the guy who did it, and you're right to think that. I shouldn't say you're right. That is your right to believe whatever you want. But based on the facts that have been presented, that I've read through, that I've said to you now, I can believe that Shohei Ohtani wanted to focus on baseball and said, hey, set up my bank accounts, make sure my needs are met, and that he would have just had the money or given him the money and not paid attention to where it's going. Or this guy got into his bank accounts, which it seems like is what happened, and stole the money without Shohei knowing. Like I said, he's got enough money where, hey, as long as my needs are met, I'm not focused on anything else. And then it comes out hey, you stole from me, what the hell? And then you're mad. You're mad when you notice. But because his needs were being met and it appeared to be no problem, that's, we could have been fine. But yeah, this story's insane. And I hope he gets help. And I hope that this all is resolved pretty quickly. And we can all get back to focusing on how great Shohei Ohtani is at playing baseball. I hope that's what we can come out of this, because Man, well, although, you know what? I do hope we get like one more wacky update that like, I don't know, he bought a car in Shohei's name and it's been abandoned at the side of the road, and then we have to deal with that later too. But I mean, that's bad for Shohei Ohtani, but it's funny for me to be able to come back in a week or so and say, oh, by the way, you know, Shohei Ohtani's got an apartment that nobody lives in because they forgot about it when Mizuhara was stealing money. He also bought an apartment. So, so maybe that's the last wrinkle, but it seems like this is about to get wrapped up pretty quickly, fairly soon, I should say, and that the statements that Shohei Ohtani has made were, as far as we know, factually correct. And I just think, man, it's so crazy. Then you think like, you know, 16 million, how do you not notice that it's gone? Like I said, man, you make that much money, like you make much more than that, and your needs are being met, you're probably not even going to notice. Like, I don't know what the equivalent is for like my bank account for $16 million, but like if someone stole money from me, I would notice because I'm not super rich. But if you are, you know, you wouldn't notice. And that's, it comes up a lot in these comments, and I just feel like anyone making that comment can't fathom how much money Shohei Ohtani actually has. And like the number, like it's a number, like you see the number 16 million, but what is that really? And you can't really figure out how, like, oh, how does he not notice? Because that's more money than any of us knows what to do with and would have any clue how to handle. And that's why Shohei Ohtani has people for that. And as long as he's being taken care of in the ways that he is used to being taken care of, money-wise, he's not even going to care about the rest. Because as much as we know about Shohei Ohtani, his singular focus is baseball. And as long as he's doing that, and everything else is being taken care of, he wouldn't even think about it. That's my take anyway. So yeah, Ippei Mizuhara charged with felony bank fraud. So we will see when this gets wrapped up. As far as baseball's investigation into Shohei Ohtani, I have to imagine this is just about the end of the road because there's not much else to tell. So there you go. That's as far as I can tell, the latest update on Ippei Mizuhara stealing money from Shohei Ohtani. It got wild. It got worse. It got just completely insane. And that's where we are as of Friday. So there we go with that break. We're not breaking up the track. We're just about done. So let us turn it over to the captain. Flyers update. Again, spoiler, it's not good, but they did beat Montreal on Thursday or Wednesday, whenever they played. So that's good, right? Right? Yes, good sir. Tell us what's going on with the rest of it. The floor is yours. Take it away.
Hey, Flyers fans. Mark back at you again with another Flyers update. Yeah. Woo. Guys, how far have we fallen? I mean, my goodness. Last time I was updating you, and the time before that, and the time before that, into perpetuity, the Flyers were in the playoff hunt. But a spectacular collapse at the end of the season has really driven the Flyers out of not only the third spot in the Metropolitan Division, but way out of the wild card standings. It does not look good for the Flyers right now. So let's take a look at what happened in the recap. So the Flyers went to Buffalo on Friday, taking on the Sabres, ended up losing that game 4-2. Then the Flyers, again on the road, the next day on Saturday, going to Columbus, lose 6-2 to the Blue Jackets. Then the Flyers going up to Canada, taking on the Canadiens on Tuesday night, figuring, you got to get it right. No, they end up losing that game 9-3. I mean, my goodness, the Flyers on this terrible losing streak couldn't have come at a worse time during the season. The Flyers have only 3 games left, so the Flyers are going to take on the Rangers in New York on Thursday. Then they're home for the last 2 games, one on Saturday against the Devils and the other on Tuesday against the Capitals. I mean, my goodness, this team just really has collapsed. Goaltending has not been good. Scoring, not there. The Flyers seem to just be undisciplined. They just cannot get this game together to put together 60 minutes of a solid, cohesive effort. I don't get it. I don't understand. But you know what? No matter what happens at the end of the season, the Flyers have way overshot our initial expectations. So I will take it You know, the Flyers, we know this was a rebuilding year. The Flyers were a little bit out there, a little bit further than we thought. Maybe they're coming back, that regression to the mean, you know, as this discussion has always been. But we'll see what happens in the last few games. Maybe a miracle can happen. Maybe the Flyers can secure a wild card spot. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. The Flyers have a long way to go to being a cup contender, not just pushing for a final playoff spot. We want to see them hoist that cup. So guys, I will be back with the recap to see what happens next week. But until then, keep your fingers crossed, do your little dance, try to put out some good vibes, and hopefully the Flyers can reward us with some good play. So guys, that's it for me here inside the Melting Pat on Next Level Radio.
Thank you, my friend, for the wonderful work. I hope we get one more next week, even if the season ends before we get there. I don't know what the dates are with the season ending, but he did say he'd be back next week. So I hope that works out. Hope the scheduling works out, and maybe we get more. Maybe they make the playoffs somehow, and we get more updates, and there we go. All right, but that's all for today. I know we went all over the place. This is almost a quintessential episode of the show, in that none of these topics connect to each other at all. So, so there you go. That's all. My thanks to Courstellation for the tunes. Go check her out. Tell her I sent you, or not. Just go check her out. And my thanks to my wife's uterus for getting us to WrestleMania. And it was just amazing. Absolutely wonderful. No thanks to John Fisher, the owner of the Oakland A's, who was making just a complete mockery of the franchise. And I guess no thanks to, thanks to Ibe Mizuhara for giving me a wild story to talk about for like 3 weeks. Man, get some help, my friend. I hope you figure it out. So that's all. My thanks, of course, to all of you for listening. That is all for today. We're good to go. I'm going to go put this together. Hopefully it'll get to you soon. We'll get to you on time, I should say. And go have fun. All right? This has been an 8 Boiling production. Until next time, my friends, have fun. Be safe. Thank a veteran. Wear your mask, wash your hands, get vaccinated and boosted when you can. And there we go. Of course, don't do anything I wouldn't do. You got it. TheMeltingPat.com for all of my stuff. That's where you find it. Newsletter, Patreon, contact me. Let me know what you would like to see, read, and or hear, and I will do my damnedest to make that happen. Okay? We won't play blah, 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 blah. We won't play G-Love because we've been here a minute. But we'll do mine. We'll do that. But go check out G-Love and Special Sauce anyway at Philadelphonic.com. So there you go. With that, we are good to go. Thank you all very much. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. All right? All right. Wonderful. Thanks so much. You've been inside the Melting Pat on the Next Level Network. Go crap open a cold one.